G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today we're going to be having a look at a special little premium tank that I've had for a while. In fact, I think I got it last November during the sales. I got it for 50% off, and I have to say, it is one of the most, or the best buys I've ever had, ever. This is the Ho-Ri prototype, and it is essentially a tank destroyer design that the Japanese designed to sort of model after the Ferdinand. And it sort of plays like that as well. You can see it's a casemate tank destroyer. The engine is in the front, the gun is in the back with the crew, and you can see it is one big boy. Although, if you think about it, it's not too much bigger than a Panzer IV, which means it's not that much of a big boy. But it certainly feels like a big boy. It's got plenty of armor, very, very well sloped upper front plate, but it does have a few critical weak spots. The Ho-Ri prototype sits at 6.0, so it's not quite as good as its big brother, the Ho-Ri production, which feels more like a Jagdtiger, to be honest. This is more like a Ferdinand, and it sort of plays like that, as I said. The gun itself is extremely good. It is a lot better than I originally thought. You can see I get some shots that I probably shouldn't have gotten, although I will say, Japanese bias, shall we say. There are two critical weak spots on this tank, and they are located on, the hull, of course. You can see on the side there, the little spot just before the driver. That's a very large weak spot. I think it's only 50 or 60 millimeters. It's thin enough for you to punch through it with a Sherman's gun. I believe at least the 76 Sherman's gun. So the other weak spot is right on the turret. And you'll see that someone exploits that later on in the game. But for now, we're having a look at an AMX, an M18. M18 Hellcats are going to be the bane of you, and they're one of the things that really, really starts to put the pressure on. So I go for a quick shot, sort of estimating through the fence, through the wall, and I don't really get lucky. I'm basically waiting, biding my time, trying to bait out shots, and then trying to take shots. This IS-1 pushes up, and I manage to upper front plate him somehow. I don't normally go for the upper front plate. I was supposed to aim somewhere above or somewhere to the left, and I managed to just sort of go halfway in between, and it worked in the end. So this gun is actually surprisingly strong. Now, I essentially don't move from this area during the rest of the battle. In this tank at least, you'll see me basically holding the line, or holding the door. Hodor. Yes, that's right. You'll see exactly what I do here, and I'm basically just trying to support my team. I managed to miss again through the fence, and, it's not a really reliable shot going through that fence. A KV-85 or an IS-1 spawns again. That fence, again, saves me, so I decide I might go for... Which one do I go for? I need to prioritize a target, right? So, for me, it's the M18. The M18 is a lot more powerful, and it's a lot more deadly in this situation because it can very easily flank me if I'm on the reload or if I'm being preoccupied with another tank. And just in time, an M18 comes out and decides, hey, I want to play as well. But the KV-85 also wants to do that, so I quickly pop off the KV-85 before it becomes a threat. And now I have an M18 to deal with who's sort of cowering behind. So I'm starting to pick my targets based on who's a threat right now, who's shooting at me right now. And I can see something from their spawn is also shooting at me, so I turn my attention to that for a brief second, just so that I can get him out of the way. I believe it's terrible. It's an ISU 152, and I can't see exactly what killed him, but looks like a plane killed him, an ME-410. Now that ME-410 could have very easily saved himself. Some better communication between teammates would have been good, but unfortunately, this doesn't really happen in a random battle. So I'm still left holding this sort of flank on the C point, mainly because I can't move. If I was free to move from the spawn there, you can see the Ho-Ri on the left of me there, on the right of me, respawned in a Chi Nu 2, and so I've got some backup here. What I want to do is I want to clear out this spot, stop people from shooting at me like that M6A1, and then move on to Cap C. But I can't really do that because I've put myself in a situation where I'm engaging multiple enemies, and I'm eventually just going to get overrun. You can see exactly how many people are here. It's crazy. There's M18s everywhere, Russians everywhere, M6, A1. Soon there'll be an M10 to join them. And honestly, the list never ends. I bump into that Chi Nu 2 because I'm not looking backwards. I'm just concentrating on what's in front of me. I need to, because otherwise I'm just not going to get anywhere. I shoot a Chaffee going out of the spawn. I probably could have left that for the Chi Nu 2, to be honest, and focused on something a bit more meaty like that M18. But something shoots me from the left-hand side, and I'm backing up. I need to back up so I can engage it. I don't know what it is, but I need to engage it, and the Chi Nu 2 is on the reload. He gets bumped by me and can't take the shot, and I end up getting him killed. I genuinely feel bad. Mate, if you're watching, I'm sorry. But, I understand. He understands. He understood as well. So, I've pushed up, baited the shot on the M18, and just gone straight through the tank. He detonated the ammo, and boom goes the M18. 6 kills. I still need more, though. There's just too many of them. I can't get through all of these tanks. And I'm starting to get overrun. I need to push around, and it turns out that I have a little friend shooting at me, a Russian boy, and I didn't pack any HE, so I'm pretty stuffed here. I need to shoot the weak spots pretty quickly. You can see that shot actually bounced straight off, and there's a plane strafing me as well. So what I need to do is I need to, 1, prioritize targets, and 2, I need to deal with that Gaz somehow. I don't know what to do. I'm sort of trying to shoot for his engine. I'm trying to bait out shots. You can see me take a look through this bush, and I managed to do nothing. Hello? Where's my shot going? And then he shoots me in the lower front plate. This, for me, is the beginning of the end. I don't know what to do here. I haven't loaded any HE. So from now on, whenever I take this thing out, I am going to load HE, just in case I get one of these little bastards coming for me. I've got something to my left there, and it turns out to be an M16. Everyone is starting to swarm me, and it's starting to get really, really bad. I can't deal with this Gaz. I can't deal with this M16. I could barely deal with another tank. And it's just starting to get worse and worse. The situation is getting more and more desperate. I don't really have anyone to support me because everyone's dead. My whole team has sort of fallen off, or they're trying to push the ACAP. I managed to hit the radiator. Nothing special. And then the Gaz sets me on fire again. So I'm starting to get genuinely desperate here. Who do I go for? Do I get one more easy kill? And an M10 eventually takes me out. From the side. Nothing I can do. Holding the door, waiting for people to get out. Nothing I could do. I wish I could do more in that thing, but I was just surrounded, and I didn't pack HE. So, what is the lesson here? You take a HE shell. If you have a derp gun, take at least 2 HE shells. Just in case you come across that pesky guy and you don't have a machine gun to deal with him. Because the Ho-Ri, I don't think the production has a machine gun either. The prototype certainly doesn't. And any large gun that doesn't have a secondary machine gun is going to suffer in a case like that, especially if you don't have a contact fuse, like a heat shell, for example. So I would take heat or HE or something like that, just to make your life a little bit easier in this situation. But that's okay. I have the A7M2, and I've got the little rocket bombs, the sort of tiny shojis, we'll call them. They are actually probably the smallest rockets, the smallest large caliber rockets, I'll say. You know, the big derp ones. And of course it's Japan with the lightest ones, but you know, Japan has its upsides and its downsides, and one thing Japan certainly isn't great for is close air support. But they do have the best anti-CAS. And one of the things that you've got to consider is that Japan has its strengths and weaknesses. CAS, it may not have, you know, absolutely amazing things that you can use to bomb out multiple targets like the Americans do, but they certainly have the lightest fighters. They certainly have the most agile, and this is stuff that you can use to your advantage. And you'll see in a second, I managed to engage a couple of targets that in any other plane I don't think I'd be able to take out. Maybe in a Zero, but there are certain targets that you just can't beat, and these are common CAS planes for lowered BRs. Especially if you're at battle rating 5.3, you tend to see some lower stuff that you may start to struggle with, particularly because they have powerful engines and they're very light planes. The A7M2 sort of follows that, although I will say I'm garbage with these rockets. I'm absolutely garbage. I need to practice a lot more, and one of the things that it just falls apart when I come to Japanese CAS. I can do pretty much anything else, but not tiny shojis. Just not tiny shojis. Now, this fine gentleman here in the BF-109 G is, you could see him talking a bit of smack in the chat. He's calling out the squadron of mine that I'm in at the moment for World War Mode, and something tells me he wants to come after me, but it turns out he doesn't anyway. This particular player sent viewbots to a friend of mine's stream. So, I don't really want to deal with a nasty person. I don't really feel like it. And so I'm going to let him do his own thing. He can take out the PE-8 and he can get shot down by the PE-8. And frankly, I don't really care. It's not really nice to do certain things like that. And, I don't know. Karma works in a funny way. Anyway, back to the A7M2 and CAS. So, what I'm doing now is basically I'm hoping that we'll have some target that, shows up within the range of a friendly. But basically the match is almost over. There's not a whole lot I can do. I'm just trying to steady the floodgates so that maybe, just maybe, my team has a chance. This is where an American plane would actually be really, really handy. I obviously don't have any American planes in a Japanese lineup, except... Actually, there is none. There's one in the entire tech tree, and it's a BF-109, B-17E. So, no thanks. Japanese CAS isn't great, and you know what? That's not a terribly bad thing. They have decent planes, they have good anti-CAS, and that's sort of where their niche is in tanks RB. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm looking for soft targets. I'm looking for Crusader AAs, I'm looking for M18s, I'm looking for anything that is open-topped, and anything that I can shoot down as well. And as you can see, I've spotted a dot. How do I spot these dots? I clean my monitor. And I practice, basically. You learn where the enemy spawn is, and in this case, it is in the same direction as them, as their spawn, but, off to the side a little bit. Kind of like our spawn. It's mirrored. And it's just beyond the river. So, all I do is I look in that general direction, look up, see if I can find a dot, and lo and behold, I see a dot. What is it? It looks like a Typhoon. It looks like a Firefly? No? It's a Hurricane. It's a Hurricane Mark II. I use this for CAS at 3.7. It's a very good plane for CAS at 3.7, and it's just a great plane overall. 12 machine guns, very maneuverable, and the A7M2 is perfect to deal with this plane. I have to slow down a little bit and I have to use flaps, which shows just how maneuverable this damn thing is. It's a stunning little plane, but the Hurricane makes a bit of a critical mistake there, and that's pretty much all she wrote. And that's game, unfortunately. We got steamrolled, but I tried to hold the door, and I tried to hold the line. It didn't work, and I guess better luck next time. 8 kills, though. That's not too bad. That's not too bad, all things considered, and I think I'll take that. 8 kills in the Ho-Ri, 1 in the A7M2, and then an air kill to wrap it up in a nice little bow. Sadly, a loss, and there's nothing I can do. The team fell apart. I did what I could. I thought I did my job, but obviously not well enough. Anyway, ladies and gents, that's the Ho-Ri prototype. Hope you enjoyed. Take care, and I'll catch you next time. If you made it to the end of the video, type in the comments, I don't know, something about Japanese warriors. There, that'll do.